there, my name is Warren, and I am the proud recipient of a patella tendon rupture. So, not a very common injury, but many people mistake it for a standard knee replacement. And I'm here to kind of talk a little bit about my recovery. And obviously, I'm not recovered. I'm 9 weeks post-operation, and I want to kind of go through, what my experience has been. I know when I first went out there, I didn't know a whole lot, and I think maybe, I can send something out there. Maybe other people might find useful. Maybe they won't. I don't really know. So a little about me. I'm 45 years old. I'm reasonably active, skiing, biking, things like that. A lot of outdoor type activities. Not too crazy though. I don't jump into rock climbing, anything like that. Got a wife, 3 kids, 3 girls, beautiful girls. Oldest being 14, 12, and then 10. So it's been a lot of fun. So I live in Massachusetts, not too far outside Boston, about an hour outside Boston. And I guess what I want to talk a little bit about today, again, is just what I've been through. And I first want to start, I guess, for the accident itself. Per the shirt here, a friend of mine got this for me. I was mountain biking in the forest, probably on Father's Day weekend, a few of us out there, and I fortunately hit a rock in the wrong way. I'm not quite sure how it happened, to be honest with you. I slammed right up against the front of my bike, and the knee hit the front of the bike, and it severed that left patellar tendon in my left leg over here. And that took me over. And long story short, I eventually did get to the hospital emergency room. It was a bit to get me there, as I had to be extracted from the woods. I wasn't a miner, so I went to the woods. But fortunately for the fire department, they were able to get me out without, it was a lot of work for them, but they got me out just great. Appreciated all that. So again, I'm 9 weeks in. I'm still obviously not fully recovered. So really what this video I want to include is kind of walking through the different phase 1, or actually week 1, week 0, week 1, week 2. I want to take you all the way up to week 9 as to where I am now. And, obviously I am wearing 2 braces here, and we're going to talk a little more about this one in a while. But the week 0, 1 through 9 here, 0 through 9, we'll be mostly talking about this leg over here on the left. This is my left knee. So I'm a righty, so this is my other knee here. So as my condition kind of continues, I will plan to post more videos as I go, and hopefully, again, they'll find them to be useful, and maybe not, but hey, that's up to you. And so I just want to first start with, I'll take a picture of the accident because I thought it was kind of an interesting picture, and it's just me in the stretcher being pulled out of the woods in the state forest. So I'll show that to you right now. So here's that one. So. All right, so the first piece I guess I'll walk through here is going to be the pre-operation, like what, between the injury and the time of the operation, right? So at this point, I was about, I think I had about 10 days or so to get this piece of it, and this is when my research really kicked in. I was like, okay, what do I need to do? I started looking at YouTube videos, just reading about it online. What things can I even have? Like, what should I do to myself? Should I purchase things? What should I get? So I'm prepared for when I do go through surgery, prepared for where this is all going to go. One YouTube series you'll find is Kyle Newell. He has a ton of videos out there, maybe 30, all on this patellar tendon rupture. He's great. He's very helpful. He can, watching his videos, just makes you understand what you're going to be going through and how to repair yourself, how to get through this. So one first thing I did is I realized, well, wait a second here, I just lost a leg, effectively. So that means my other body needs to compensate, right? So as part of that, I'm like, well, what I'm going to do is I need to drop some weight, right? So I wasn't excessively overweight, but I also knew that, every pound you can drop is going to help you get around, less weight in the knees. So I immediately went into a plan of, okay, I'm going to exercise my upper body, also upper body exercises, and then changing my diet. So the idea was to try to shed pounds as much as I could as I was kind of going through this. So that definitely proved out pretty well. I've been able to drop some weight during this process, which has been great. So again, the next thing was like, okay, well, what am I going to need while I'm in this surgery? And a lot of that was actually just, well, what is a knee replacement person? What are they going to need when they come out of surgery, right? So I'm going to kind of walk through a few things here. So the first thing I got here is a leg lifter, right? So this is something cheap. You get on Amazon, and it was like $8, $10, something like that. So what this does is, when you're down on a couch or whatever you're trying to get in a car, you can use this, reach out, go down, grab your leg, pull it up and lift it and move it over, right? So it's kind of like gives you that control of your leg, right? So that was very helpful. Another way I was able to do that was use my other good leg to, get under it and then move that leg around. So that also worked rather well as well. A little more on that later. I'm not sure I would, I'd probably still recommend doing, using your other leg, but more on that, maybe why you wouldn't want to do that. But for sure, this thing was very useful for myself. The next thing that I found very useful to get, this was right here, it's a little camping stool, right? And I got the tallest one I could find. So the idea here is I could sit in a chair and I could put my leg out, and keep it straight, right? So wherever I am at, I'm in a chair, I'm in a couch, this thing's super light, bring it with me everywhere I go. And this would have, allow me to put it up put my leg within the brace, right on this guy. So this was my travel partner, right? Always was out there with it. And actually some of my most, common travel partner would be, these two items right here, that leg lifter and this little camp stool, pretty much stuck behind my side quite a bit, right? That worked out really well. The final thing here, which I thought was very useful, was, I'm sorry for all this crutch kind of gets away sometimes. So this thing right here, right? This is a toilet seat riser, right? So toilet seat riser, that's helpful because obviously getting down onto the toilet when you only have one leg is far more difficult, right? So that, just raises it up a few more inches. And that was also helpful to take that strain off that other leg because, during all this, your other leg is taking a ton of stress, right? Going up and down the stairs, getting into chairs, getting into couches. You don't realize you basically doubled the amount of activity that this leg is seeing, right? And it happens pretty quickly too. At first, it's just kind of move along. Oh, this is what I do for my job. No, we just doubled your workload, right? So that's something to think about, that toilet seat riser. So those are basically the major things that I found to be very useful post-op. Going through researching YouTube videos, again, Kyle Newell, and those three pieces right there. I did buy a few other things I think along the way, but those were the kind of the main ones. So that was where I was pre-operation. So the next part of this was the post-operation. When the operation went well for me, fortunately, there's no surprises. They were able to get it reattached, no issues, which was phenomenal because that's always the big concern, right? You don't know exactly what's going to happen, but fortunately it all worked out. And they typically do, I think. It's common enough. So what they did do is they put a nerve blocker in that knee, which worked for about 24 hours. And they told me it's going to wear off. It's going to wear off, and make sure you keep up with the once you feel the pain, make sure you take your oxy, your painkiller, right? I'm like, yeah, sure, great. But I was, I don't really want to take this oxy as my head anyway. I'm not taking the oxy. I'm not going to do it. I can get by this thing, right? But so it happened about 24 hours, as they said, it wore off, and that wore off with a vengeance. It was excessive pain right in my knee, pretty much worse than when it happened when the actual accident happened. It was incredibly painful. And it wouldn't go away either, right? And then eventually I started taking the oxy because I'm like, okay, I need the oxy. And I caught up with the pain. It took probably 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, something like that, to eventually catch up with that pain. But I did. And then I spent the next day, I'd say, post that on oxy. Which I didn't have pain in the leg anymore. I was obviously not really in my mindset, but at least I didn't have the pain. But it was fortunately, it seemed like I was able to get off the oxy after that day, and the pain wasn't coming back. So I was like, okay, well, this is good. And I did take an Advil maybe or two. I didn't take too much. But honestly, within a couple days there, I was really not in a whole lot of pain, which was great. So at that point, I'm now in a spot of, well, they've done their job here of putting us all back together. Now it's like they poured the cement, and now it just has to cure, right? And that's pretty much what you're at for, a few weeks, right? I mean, they say 4 weeks, and that's about what I did. 4 weeks of just keeping that knee immobilizer on that leg. It didn't move, and it was a pretty uneventful 4 weeks. But eventually, you do get through that 4 weeks. It's slow, and on the other side, things do get they do get better, right? So, all right. So I'm now about 3.5, close to 4 weeks into my post-operation, right? And I was on a camping trip, so I still get out. I got out, right? And I wasn't completely just sitting in my house. I did get around. But I always had the immobilizer on there. I was, no PT or anything like that. It was keep the knee, pretty much, let that thing heal, right? But what I did is, just before 4 weeks there, a few days, maybe 2-3 days before that, 4 weeks, I did my first leg lift, and that was a big milestone for me. Actually, I brought some tears to my eyes when I was able to, because I know this is a big one, right? When you're like, oh my, once you have that leg lift, it's reattached again, and it means it works, right? Oh my gosh! So I did my first leg lift, and I actually I took a video of that leg lift, and you're gonna see that right here. So here's the video of my leg lift. Leg lift. Yeah. So on that same camping trip, I also started doing kind of these mini heel slides. When I say mini, I'm talking like just very, very slight. And actually, I have a video of that too here, which I took on that trip just to kind of show that, oh look, I can do I'm starting to get a little bit of rotation back, very, very slight. So you'll see that video here. Range of motion is quite limited though. That's where I start feeling pain, right around there. I got a good amount, tightness. So can't really get there. So, all right. So 4 weeks post surgery, I went to my 4-week post surgery appointment, and they told me, okay, well, definitely you need to start getting your PT going, right? So that was great. I can now, not be wearing this brace all the time, and really, you should really start working on that rotation, start working on strengthening. So, rotation, I was mostly, getting into the heel slide, really trying to getting more and more rotation going on. For strengthening, for sure, leg lifts are in there. There was also Kyle Newell had another one that was good, which was you put some stuff in a wheelbarrow and you get out there on the street and you push that wheelbarrow up and down the hills. If you have, I have some hills right in my actually street was happened to be a hill, so it was easy for me just to get it out there. And the idea there is that you're using that you have some rotation there, but you can now strengthen what you do have for rotation, but be safe about it because you're going to have a wheelbarrow. If something happens, you can just lower that wheelbarrow, it just drops, and you're just going to fall. You're going to be able to grab onto those. So that worked out really well for that. I was able to gain my rotation. For driving, also, I was my left leg, so since I had that rotation, 10, 20, 30 degrees, I started to get into pretty quickly between the 4 and the 5 week period. I was now able to drive again because obviously it was for an automatic car. My wife's car was an automatic, so I was able to do that pretty well. Unfortunately, my car was a standard transmission, so I had a clutch, and that made it very difficult, obviously, to drive, and basically I couldn't drive my car quite yet, right? So that was one achievement I really wanted to get to, is how am I drive my car. But let me show you this quick video. This is me pulling that, pushing that wheelbarrow up my street, trying to again strengthen those muscles safely. So that's the end of part 1. For part 2 and basically week 5 and beyond, just go click on the next video. Thanks.